Tim. Welcome to my channel. Glad you stopped on by. Going to be doing some working out tonight. Going to be working with the shoulder press. Going to start out warming up with 10 pounds. If you're new to my channel, just doing pretty basic working out. Just a dad trying to stay in shape and having fun while I do it. So just pretty basic, just warming up with the 10-pound dumbbells. I'm working out at night. So I've got my baby monitors going. My kid's a little bit older, but I still like to know that everything's good. For some reason, one of the bedrooms doors shut on its own. I'm guessing it's just the AC kicking on. But I had to go up there and check. I like to be better safe than sorry when it comes to my family's safety. Now you're just gonna watch me over and over again, looking down to make sure everything's okay. This shirt doesn't seem to want to stay down. It's very unflattering. All right, guys, 20 pounds. This is all just warming up, making sure that everything is working the way it should be. I think it's important to warm up. It's important not to just jump into it. You want to grab a heavy weight and find out that something went wrong during the week, or you tore something, or you tweaked something, and put yourself in a bad position. Especially because you grab that big weight, you push up something that would be minor with a small weight, and you'd be like, okay, like we'll work around that. If you're not really ready for it, you hit it with a big weight, it can turn out to be a much bigger issue. Take your time, feel everything, make sure everything's good. I think for me, the goal is lifelong fitness. To do things that allow me to stay fit onto my old age. So this is, it's always a marathon for me and not a sprint. And I think that's important to focus on. It's difficult for me because I do like to get those results going fast. And I'm fighting that within myself to make sure that I don't hurt myself and that I can be doing this for a long time. You always hear people bragging about their glory days, and that, oh man, when I was 18, I could bench press like 3 times my weight, or when I was in my 20s, you should have seen me. But what are you doing now? You'll find a lot of guys that have those huge successes early on also end up hurting themselves, and in the long run, they can't keep it up because they just went really hard, they weren't safe, and now they have lifelong injuries to contend with. I've been there. I charged really hard. I had a whole big idea that I could do 300 push-ups in a day and make that my big goal. And I worked towards that goal and ended up tearing my pec. So I speak from my own experience, not just dogging on somebody that isn't in the room. I did that thing, I hard charged it and just screwed up. And it cost me, a good year of time and still like healing up. So making sure you don't do that. Marathon, not sprint. Sure, just does not want to stay down. It's about time to buy some new shirts. I've had these shirts for a while now. They're starting to shrink. All right, gonna go to 40 pounds. All right, now 40-pound shoulder press is admittedly not a lot of weight. There's a lot of guys out there that can do a lot more. I've been able to do more, but again, just coming back, trying to kind of pace myself and make sure that I do things the smart way. And I just ram it up there and read it later on. So this is me trying to be smart. 40 pounds. And there's the shirt. I'm gonna fix the shirt real fast. It's really annoying. Stretch it down a little bit. Specifically got this shirt because it has the 4-way stretch. So I have a weakness for Costco sells this small canister. I mean, that's not small. Of chocolate chip cookies. They just nail. They're the right level of, excuse me, I know this is not everyone's favorite word, but the right amount of moist. They're awesome little chocolate chip cookies. And if I buy them, I have no control. I will eat the whole thing. But thankfully, we had company over this weekend, so I bought them, and they did not, they did not let me down. They ate the majority of them, so I ate just the right amount. No big regrets. Oh, that's really annoying. Man. All right. Again. All right, so I try to keep my breaks in between sets down to anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. I'm gonna take a little bit longer on this one and give myself about 50 seconds because I really want to complete that third set of 10 with 40s. As my shirt pops up, and after talking about those cookies, all I can think is somebody's gonna think, well, maybe if you laid off on the cookies, your shirt wouldn't pop up. Maybe. All right, let's do this. All right, that's 8. That's So that is an improvement over last time I did this. Last time I did 1 set of 10, 1 set of 5, and 1 set of 4. This time I managed 2 sets of 10 and 1 set of 8. So it's an improvement. Again, you gotta sometimes just push for those little improvements. I'm gonna give it another 40 seconds, and I'm gonna what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go again for another set. When I drop below 8, that's usually where I like to dial down the weight, but I'm gonna keep going for another set. Fun times. When I hit 3 complete sets of 10, that's the sign for me next week to go bigger. So I want to get back to where I'm doing, 60, 70 pounds shoulder press, or get to that point. I don't think I ever did 70 pounds. It's not in a consistent sense. So, all right, here we go. All right, that's 6. And I'm gonna put these guys away and switch to 30 pounds. All right, so we're gonna be going down from here. About 10 more seconds, and then I'm gonna get into it. Now one of them's rolling around in their sleep. All right, 10. And then during that set, just gotta remind myself, just make sure that you're breathing. As always, when things get tough, I tend to hold my breath a little bit, which is not ideal. It's not something that people recommend when you're working out. oxygen is an important part of working out. Quick drink of water. Quick drink of water. When I started working out tonight, it was nice 85 degrees in this garage, but it's gone down to 84. Well, as I get hotter, it gets cooler. Nice trade-off. All right, well, we're still doing better than last week. Last week I only did 2 sets of 10 with 30, and then 8 and a 7. But this week, knocked out 3 sets of 10. That's good. Improving. Whew. I enjoy every little victory. It may sound silly, but I think that's what spurs you on, really appreciating or getting to the big ones. You just keep being negative about your progress, I think it's going to be harder to hit those big goals. Doesn't mean you have to blow sunshine and everything and pretend like it's amazing, but celebrate it. Be real, give yourself encouragement. Now, I will say this. I think it's important to come up with a plan that works best for you, that makes the most sense to you. I think sometimes when it comes to working out, people are real quick to tell you their idea of how you should do it and why they do certain things. It may not work for you, but they say it so sometimes aggressively and matter of factly that you think they must know what they're talking about, so you deviate from what you've been doing. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's just not going to work out the same way for you as for them. That's why we have a lot of varying results when it comes to fitness and what people deem successful or the path to success. All right, that was 7. And we'll on down to the 20s. Try and do this quickly because I want to get into some lat work. Yeah, everyone, there's a lot of differences in people and in their bodies and what works for them. And you gotta really learn what works best for you and be realistic and appreciate what your body brings to the table. I was talking to a guy who I think is like 6'3" or 6'4", tall guy, and he was complaining about what a gap there was between his forearm or his elbow and on his bicep. I was like, man, I really want to close this distance. And tell him, like, you're really strong, you're tall, you're gonna have to like do something incredible to close that distance. You have a long arm. Your bicep's gonna be strong without showing it. And you're tall. You know how many guys would give to be that tall? It's just funny like how we can focus on what we deem to be an imperfection in our bodies and lose track of all the gifts that we have. Like that, I think it was a Aesop's fable about the dog that's walking past the river with a steak in his mouth, but he drops it to grab the steak out of the dog's mouth in the water, only to discover it's just reflection and he loses his steak. Don't be that guy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to lateral raises. All right, gonna hit the lateral raises. It's funny, I was putting away the weights and I realized I actually got 25 pounds instead of 20 pounds the last press, so good. I'm just gonna grab some 10 pounders real fast. Just wanna make sure that everything is gonna work for this one where it should be. Let's pull the shirt down a little bit so we don't get that exciting belly shot. All right, everything seems to be working in order. We got 20 pounders. That wasn't exactly what I was going for, but not exactly ready for the 20s yet. Gonna go back down to the 15s. It's okay. We'll get back to those eventually. Okay? Hard. I will say there was a point where I was able to crush the 20s and then do the 30 pounds. Never made it past the 30 pounds. Now I got to get back up to the 30 pounds. And maybe we'll get past it. Let's see. Always a work in progress. How this works. Give myself another 20 seconds. Really want to make this good. That's enough. Let's do this. Let's say 10. More seconds. Stays down. A little sloppy there. Do it 30 seconds. And again. All right, that's just 9. All right, well, that's all the time I have tonight. I hope you find some motivation from it. And I really do. You know, I talked about this, but just having been overweight, having seeing how bad that can go and how quickly it can go. How quickly you can go from just being a little overweight to the next thing you know, you are grossly overweight. And just that long path back. And all the things that can go wrong while you're trying to get back into shape, while you're trying to change that around. For me, like I said, I hard charged it once, hurt myself. That put me out for a year, which made me get even bigger than I'd ever been before. And just taking that time to really focus on losing weight and to get back into shape. First year of getting back into shape was a rough one because I love lifting weights, but the goal of burning fat was the biggest thing to me, losing that weight, becoming more mobile. So a lot of it was just, large part of the year was just walking, a lot of walking before I could even jog, before I could run, and before I could really ever make it back to where I felt like it was a good place to start lifting again. Hopefully, you can do that same thing. If you are, overweight, you're just out of shape, like you've been busy working, raising kids, you got hurt, all these different things, maybe it was like the first time I gained weight, you got really into playing Destiny or some other video game, but you can turn around. It doesn't have to be some incredible thing where you join some very fancy gym or you buy a lot of equipment. You can do a lot of things on your own just by walking, running when you can get to that point, and just lifting dumbbells. This is a very doable option to being in shape and staying in shape. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good day, good night, good evening, wherever you are on the timeline. God bless you. Thank you.